Hello, and welcome back. Before I begin this video's discussion, I want to ask you a question. How confident are you in your understanding of the world and, well, reality, really? It's a weird question, I know. Usually, we know a lot of things. We feel confident in our understanding of many things. Typically, it's the who, the where, and the what. But what about the how and the why? How confident are you in the reasons behind certain events, be they historical or contemporary? This question strikes at the core of what I mean to get into with today's video in the phenomena known as post-truth. The post-truth phenomena is one born out of the development and tendencies of both technology and humanity. And it calls into question everything. It is a threat to our understanding. For instance, I'm going to go ahead and guess that most people who answered my initial question went one of two ways. Either confidence or uncertainty. Those of you who said that you would feel confident in answering this, that you feel confident in your understanding of the world, perhaps you think this way because of all the information that we have available to us, more now than ever before. And with this, we could forge an understanding. It sounds promising. But what happens when the information we see doesn't really match our beliefs? What happens when that confidence comes to dictate which websites you use and even which friends that you have? Now, on the other hand, we have those of you who might have felt uncertain about the world and reality itself. Perhaps you see all this information from all these multiple perspectives, and you ask yourself, well, who's to say who is really telling the truth if there's so many different perspectives on just one matter? And this sort of feeling can lead to some anxiety, which makes any sort of acting difficult. Now, neither of these is ideal, but both are a sort of product of this post-truth phenomena. And so, if we wish to alleviate and remedy this, we must first understand it. This video, I'm going to be introducing you to post-truth, highlighting some of the factors that have influenced it, and ending with some examples of what I believe to be post-truth. So, let's begin with a definition of post-truth. In essence, the phenomena known as post-truth is the circumstances in which our ability to clarify reality, to understand it, and to function within it on the basis of facts is weakening as a result of high-intensity interference by four factors. Now, when I say clarify reality, I mean to be able to confidently say what is objectively the case in the world. Basically, what are the facts? And of course, there is a metaphysical argument to be made for reality and its objectiveness, and I'm going to be going on the assumption that we can at least approach objective understanding, and that this post-truth phenomena makes that approach more difficult. This leads to a more simplified way of understanding post-truth. That being a shared objective reality based on facts is becoming more difficult to obtain. And I use the word shared because it is an individual and collective understanding that is at risk. So what are these factors that have created post-truth? Well, there exists four of them. The first is information technology, such as the development and use of social media, online information databases, and just a wider access to the internet. The second is a loss of faith in truth-telling organizations like the news, academia, and even the scientific community. The third is an erosion of the idea of objective truth due to malformed postmodernist ideas. And finally, there's a growing political divide due to polarization. While each influence post-truth, they don't all share equal weight, and I'm going to be delving into each in more detail in future videos. So, we have a definition of post-truth and the factors that influence it. So now let's take a look at some quick examples to help clarify post-truth as a whole. I believe the best examples of post-truth come in the form of science denial and politics. The examples themselves may be seen as controversial to some. However, I'm not making any claim here to anyone holding these beliefs to be irrational, merely a victim of this post-truth phenomena. I will only briefly be describing how each exemplifies post-truth, as I'm going to be drawing on these examples more within the factors videos. So, let's begin with the first few examples that are of scientific importance. It shouldn't be too much of a surprise that there exists a debate on science, or perhaps more accurately, a denial of science. This debate and denial, I believe, is contributed much in part to the post-truth phenomena. That the three most prominent and dangerous examples of science denial are climate change denial, anti-vaccination movements, and the recent anti-mask movement seen with COVID-19. For each, a combination of the previously mentioned factors, working in tandem, influenced many to call into question science. On the debate of climate change, there exist those who deny the reality of an Earth growing warmer, or perhaps just the human influence on it. A combination of disinformation from powerful groups whose bottom line may be threatened by environmentalist reforms, and misinformation among people has resulted in the continuation of human activity that would guarantee a warmer Earth. The contemporary debate for vaccines also began in 1998, when a disastrous and ill-practiced publication connected the MMR vaccine with autism. This misled conclusion snowballed into a large spreading of misinformation, and the anti-vaccination movement was ushered in, which has ensued a growing number of preventable diseases and even deaths. And here the issue, it's not so much with the critical approach to vaccines, but in the denial of the medical scientific community. And finally, the post-truth phenomena has tainted the onset of the global pandemic of COVID-19, causing many to deny its existence, its effects, or the effectiveness of masks to counter its spread. Political actors sought to mislead the public through disinformation about the reality of COVID-19, with many online sharing misinformation between like-minded individuals, like the kind you see in the bottom picture here. The thousands dead worldwide is a testament to our inability to clarify the reality that we're all in. And unfortunately, it is not just science that is affected by post-truth. Another area which harbors many dangers is directly within politics as well. Here, I'll discuss two examples most should already know about, that being Brexit and Trump. So, following the Brexit victory, it was found to have been largely influenced by an online disinformation campaign to mislead many into voting for Brexit. Those four factors of post-truth pushed the narrative even further and resulted in the Brexit vote passing through that acceptance of fabricated and misleading claims, like the picture that you see up here on the top. And finally, we have Trump. Arguably the most prominent and destructive result of post-truth for Trump on politics was the allegation of a stolen election in 2020 by Joe Biden. It was an allegation which held no objective ground and pushed many to raid the Capitol in Washington, D.C. to stop the steal. In fact, both the 2016 Trump and Brexit electoral victories were in some part thanks to the disinformation campaigns of the online community of Cambridge Analytica. For them, post-truth was not just a phenomena, it was a tool. A whole video could be dedicated to the company as Cambridge Analytica. And for those of you who are interested, I will be sharing a documentary in the description that goes into more detail on their acts. Now, my argument here with post-truth in the examples is not against critical analysis or skeptical approaches to understanding. Indeed, we ought to maintain a skeptical look to uphold our objective reality, or at least the approach to it. However, within each of these examples, this skepticism was baseless, and even after evidence was shown to counter the claims for each, those who had already wanted their claims to be true continued to be so for them. There was an uncertain shared objective reality that was replaced with a comfortable and misled one. Perhaps that's the core of it all, that there's a human tendency for control and understanding coupled with technology. to make it apparently happen. I want you to keep these examples in your mind as we continue to explore post-truth, as well as the definition and the factors. It's probably going to help alleviate the phenomena further. So, now that you've been introduced to post-truth, tell me what you think. Is this some new age of understanding and information, or is this just a continuation of what we've always seen with the adage of advanced technology? Clearly, this inability to clarify a shared reality is causing conflict, both within ourselves and within our communities. Do you think we will ever be able to achieve a shared understanding of our world? Or are we just going to continue down this Kafkaesque rabbit hole of synthetic truths? Tell me what you think, and I'll see you next time.